Today is Saturday, May the 24th, doing my weekly wrap up. And the theme this week is just exploring kind of what is the highest and best use of me and my family. And that's the whole reason for this entire vlogging and podcasting of our journey. To change up our life a little bit, it's really trying to answer that question: what is our highest and best use? I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a business owner. What is the highest and best use of me? And right now that looks like stabilizing a local business, putting the right team in place, and then looking abroad to some other opportunities. And this past week, in my last episode, I shared how Elon Musk is going back to the private sector because he feels like maybe the work that he wanted to do or thought he could influence the outcome of in the public sector has come to an end. So he's going to go back into the private sector where his highest and best use is running these companies and solving bigger problems in society and down at our little local level. I'm trying to do the same thing as an entrepreneur. And I got thinking this morning, mostly because I think the United States yesterday passed the new budget bill, or the big and beautiful bill, into the House, which isn't really what I think, if I read it right, what the American people wanted. It's really the politicians trying to hang on to whatever it is that they already have. And that might have also been why Elon Musk decided his time was up, because he probably figured, I can't do any more. Budget's going to go across. But that got me thinking this morning about understanding the environment that you're in as a business owner or an entrepreneur, and then making a decision about what that might look like, what the impact of that is to maybe your short-term future. And said a different way, the U.S. is kind of on a path, Canada's on a path. You've heard me talk about Spain being on a path. And as I interact in, if I interact in Canada, for example, the environment that we're in right now is one where productivity is slowed to a halt almost as a country. Statistically, we see more people going to work in the public sector than the private sector, which naturally means that productivity is going to slow, GDP is going to drop, because the public sector doesn't create value. It doesn't drive productivity. It reduces productivity and it destroys value. And I don't mean destroy in a diminutive way. I just mean there's parts of the market that create value, and then there's parts of the market that destroy or consume that value. And so the public sector continues to increase, the private sector decreases, and so productivity, GDP, is coming to a halt. So what does that mean as a business? That means that you probably are living in the best moment that your business could have had going forward. So like yesterday was probably your best day. Monday was even better than yesterday, as an example, because over time, things are just going to descend. And if you, as a business owner, want to hold your margins, want to hold your profitability, then you really have to lean, I think, in this environment on efficiency and recognize that, for example, I'm in the construction business. We know that labor is a problem, so we have to find ways to continue to reduce the administrative burden of what we do, offload it to technologies and AI and things that can help us do our job better, quicker, faster, so that we can take the resources that we have, put them into people, make people really, really valuable. Because as the market continues to slow, if margins compress, if the overall amount of work available for us continues to shrink, we want to be one of the last companies standing. Now that sounds like maybe there's a fatalistic attitude towards that, and that's certainly not how I mean to present it. I just mean I think you have to be realistic about the environment you're in. Said a different way, there's an entire generation of millennial business owners that believe that 2% interest rates is a normal world, when in history that has never been the case. And so as interest rates continue to increase to offset inflation, or however the economists decide to manage our economy, there's a bunch of millennials that are going to have to figure out that, wow, normal interest rates are like 5% or 6% or 7% or more than that. And then if my wages go up and interest rates go up and my margins go down, then how does that affect our profitability? And then our profitability obviously affects our cash flow. And our cash flow means that we're not going to have money to do growth and expansion, or anything else. And so I think you have to know the environment you're in. We're in one right now where I do think it's a slow descent to even worse productivity and worse profitability. And there's a time to lean in and really be a shrewd business owner. And then we just come out of a decade of millennial business owners that just rode a wave of prosperity and low interest rates and really couldn't do any wrong. And now they're going to have to adjust. And so during that environment, the game would have been to grow, grow, grow at any cost, because the winds are in your sail, the winds at your back, and you can just go. Now, I'm not sure that that's exactly the same thing. So, as business owners, when you think of what's your highest and best use, part of that is also understanding what's the environment that your business is in, and what variables do you need to be working with or managing to make sure that you are the last business in a dire situation. But from a perspective, can your business be one of the last businesses that remains in the marketplace? There will be businesses that close because the owners are of an age where they just don't want to do it anymore. There are businesses that will close because they are just poorly run and they won't be able to survive when the cash flow gets tight or non-existent. And so you just want to set yourself up for success by, as an owner, thinking through those things. If my wages go up, if interest rates go up, my margins squeeze, how does our business have to change? My answer to that right now is to quickly utilize technology to offload a lot of the admin burden that our company has. And then any resources we have, we pour it into people. Because as you know, I think people are the most valuable thing on the face of this earth. And as a business owner, I'm responsible for stewarding both people and resources. And so I think if we can have the most valuable team in the marketplace, then I think that we stand the best chance at continuing to be a stable place for people to earn their livelihood and take money home to their families and their communities and so forth. And so this whole idea of highest and best use, as a business owner, I think it means reading the market and see what's going on. And if a guy like Elon Musk is reading the market and saying, look, I tried, I was able to put my shoulder into something and get a bit of a result, but the course has been set and I can only do what I can do. And so I'm going to go to where I'm of highest and best use. And it sounds like he's now saying it outright that he's going back to his companies and he's going to let the government do their thing. And so for me, that just is inspiration to reevaluate what I'm doing. And I'm kind of already down that path anyway. What is my highest and best use? And I don't think it's to continue to dedicate time and resources to a Canadian enterprise outside of the one that I have. And I think it's the highest and best use for me would be to try and do something different in a different environment. And so that's what I'm working on. And I think that the best antidote to some of the things, like a business that might be failing or struggling, the best antidote to those failures and those struggles is to, again, look outward and start investing in people. Find great people, recognize what their strengths are, recognize how they can fit into your business scaffolding and where they can produce the most value based on what they bring to the table each day. And I think that you'll find that you can ride through a lot of those difficult and stressful moments quite a bit easier if you make people your focus. And that could be internal and external being your customers, internal being your staff. But I don't think that the antidote is to try and, buy more resources or put money into inanimate objects. I actually think as a business owner, our highest and best use is to keep investing in people, because people provide the greatest return. And it's usually a double-sided blessing where the more you can pour into somebody else, the more that you're able to get out of that as well. And I think that for me, I'm just focused on trying to do the best I can with what I have and the people that are in my sphere, both as a husband, father, and business owner. And the market and the environment that I'm reading today is one where productivity is going to go down. So I have to try and prop that up inside of our business, because I think the environment is such that productivity will go down. And then if productivity goes down, profitability goes down as well. And that's what we're experiencing as a country. And I think a lot of businesses are experiencing that. Certainly, we're coming up to our year end here in about a week. And I know that our margins are off because we have seen an increase in our G&A costs, not our labor and our cost of goods, but just running the business has become more expensive, from insurance to subscriptions to just the overall cost of items that that we have to pay for as a business that we don't really have a choice to not pay for. And so, if you can't increase your price yet because everyone else is keeping their prices low, but your costs are going up, it means your margins are getting squeezed, and that can't continue forever. But as a business owner, your profitability kind of carries the difference until companies just start folding and not being able to survive. So today, on Saturday, May the 24th, question being asked is, what is your highest and best use? And that sort of seems to be the theme of what I'm thinking about this week.